The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched out like a cathedral made of light and metal. Thousands of aliens from across the galaxy sat in their special seats, each one protected by its own atmosphere bubble. Some breathed methane, others needed freezing cold, and a few required pressure so high it would crush a human instantly. But they all sat together in this one massive room, and they all had one thing in common today. They were all staring at Daniel Price. Daniel stood alone on the platform in the center of the hall. His black uniform was perfectly pressed, and his face showed nothing. He had been standing there for 3 hours while the council argued about humanity's fate. Now the arguing was over. High Arbiter Zell then rose from its seat. The creature looked like a giant insect made of blue crystal, and when it spoke, its voice came through the translation system in perfect English. The words were cold and final. The Galactic Council has reached a decision. Humanity is hereby banned from all council space, all trade agreements, and all diplomatic relations. You are forbidden from entering council territories. Your ships will be turned away. Your merchants will find no customers. Your diplomats will receive no audience. Daniel listened without moving. Around the hall he could see some aliens looking satisfied, others looking nervous, and a few looking almost sad. The charges against humanity had been read out one by one. Humans were too violent. Humans refused to limit their weapons. Humans would not accept genetic modification to make them less aggressive. Humans had fought back when attacked at Kelros Station, instead of retreating like civilized species would. Every charge was technically true. Daniel did not bother trying to defend against them. The council had already made up its mind before the trial even started. "Does the human representative have anything to say?" Zell then asked. Its voice carried a hint of satisfaction, like it had just won a game. Daniel smiled. It was not a nice smile. Only this. You should have checked what Earth has been doing for the last 20 years before making this decision. He touched a button on his wrist device. My government already knows about your verdict. We accept your terms. The hall went silent. This was not the reaction they expected. They had prepared for humans to beg, to argue, to make threats. They had not prepared for instant acceptance. Daniel turned and walked toward the exit. His boots echoed on the metal floor. Behind him, Zell then called out, "Ambassador Price, what do you mean about the last 20 years?" Daniel stopped at the door. He looked back at the thousands of aliens watching him. "You will find out soon enough. Humanity has not needed your counsel for a very long time. We were just being polite." He paused. "And now we are done being polite." The doors closed behind him with a heavy thud. In the hallway outside, his assistant Jake Newman was waiting with a tablet computer. "Sir Admiral Morrison is on secure line. She wants to know if it went as expected." "Tell her yes," Daniel said. "Tell her the council did exactly what we predicted. Tell her to begin Operation Lighthouse." Jake typed quickly on the tablet, then looked up with concern. "Sir, are you sure about this?" "We are cutting ties with the largest political body in the galaxy." Daniel laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Jake, the council has 5,000 member species. Do you know how many of those species actually matter? Maybe 50. The rest are just there to vote the way the powerful ones tell them to vote. And do you know what all those powerful species have in common?" Jake shook his head. "They are all afraid. They have been safe and comfortable for so long that they forgot how to be strong. They see humans fighting back when attacked and call us violent. They see us building weapons to protect ourselves and call us dangerous. They want us to be weak like them. And when we refused, they decided to punish us." Daniel's voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. "They think banning us will make us fall in line. They have no idea what is coming." In the council hall, the aliens were having the same realization. A small species called the Vreen had sent traders to human space once. Their representative stood up. "High Arbiter, I must speak. When my people traded with humans, we noticed something. They had far more ships than they reported. They had colonies in places they never told the council about. They had technology that should not exist according to what they shared with us." Another alien stood. "My scouts report the same. Human vessels in deep space, far from their approved territories. We thought they were just exploring, but now I wonder." Zeldin's crystal plates clicked together nervously. "Are you suggesting humanity has been hiding their true strength?" "I am suggesting," said the Vreen representative slowly, "that we may have just made a terrible mistake. If the humans were following our rules only out of courtesy, and we just removed that courtesy, what will they do now?" In his ship in orbit above the council world, Daniel sat in his private quarters and opened a bottle of whiskey he had been saving. He poured 2 glasses and handed one to Jake. "A toast," Daniel said, raising his glass. "To the Galactic Council, who just gave humanity exactly what we needed. Freedom." Jake clinked his glass against Daniel's. "I still do not understand the long game here, sir. How does getting banned help us?" Daniel took a sip and smiled. "For 20 years, Earth has been playing by the Council's rules. We asked permission to expand. We limited our weapons. We shared our technology. We tried to fit in. And what did it get us? Fear and suspicion. The Council species looked at humans and saw something that scared them. We reminded them that the universe is dangerous and that being civilized does not make you safe. So we decided to stop asking permission," Jake said, understanding dawning on his face. "Exactly. For 20 years, while we were playing nice, Earth was also preparing. We sent colony ships to systems the Council had never explored. We built stations in places they never looked. We developed technology we never reported. We created a network of human worlds that do not appear on any Council maps. And we did it all legally because we never agreed to let them monitor everything we do." Jake whistled softly. "How many colonies are we talking about?" Daniel's smile grew wider. 47 major colonies. Over 300 smaller outposts. 600 ships in the Earth Defense Fleet that the Council does not know exist. And a communication system that lets us talk instantly across hundreds of light years. That is impossible. Faster than light communication violates known physics. "It violates Council physics," Daniel corrected. "Human physics worked it out 12 years ago. We just never told anyone." He finished his whiskey. "The Council thought they were containing a problem. What they actually did was set us free. Now we do not have to pretend anymore. Now we can show the galaxy what humanity really is." "And what is that, sir?" Daniel stood and looked out the viewport at the stars. "Survivors, Jake. Humans are survivors. We came from a world that tried to kill us every day. Diseases, predators, weather, other humans. Earth made us tough. And when we got to space, we did not forget those lessons. The Council species had time to become soft. We did not. So what happens now?" "Now?" Daniel turned from the window and his expression was fierce with pride. "Now we stop hiding. Now we tell those 47 colonies they can turn their lights on. Now we open trade with every species that wants to deal with us, Council approval or not. Now we show them that humanity does not need permission to exist, to grow or to thrive." He set down his empty glass with a sharp click. "The Council banned us from their space. They forgot to ask if we cared." Captain Ryan Baker had been sitting in the same chair for 6 months and he was ready to move. The Earth defense ship Valiant floated in dark space, 5 light-years from the nearest star. Around it, 11 other ships waited in the same patient silence. They had all been here together waiting for a message that might never come. "Sir, we have an encrypted transmission from Fleet Command," said Lieutenant Amy Clark. Her voice was steady, but Ryan could hear the excitement underneath. "Authorization code Raven 7. Ryan felt his heartbeat faster. Raven 7 was the code they had been waiting for since they left Earth. "Put it through to my station. Private channel." Admiral Kate Morrison's face appeared on his personal screen. She looked tired with dark circles under her eyes, but her voice was strong. "Captain Baker, as of 2 hours ago, the Galactic Council officially banned humanity from all their territories. You are ordered to proceed with Operation Lighthouse. The waiting is over." Ryan felt relief wash over him. 6 months of waiting in the dark, wondering if this mission would ever start. "Understood, Admiral. The Valiant battle group will begin immediately. What about the other fleets?" "Everyone gets the same order at the same time. 300 ships are moving into position right now. The colonies are being informed. By this time tomorrow, the whole galaxy is going to know we exist." Kate's expression softened slightly. "Good luck, Ryan. You are about to make history." "Thank you, Admiral." Valiant out. Ryan stood and walked to the center of the bridge. His crew of 40 men and women looked at him with anticipation. They had all volunteered for this mission. They had all agreed to spend months or even years away from home, floating in dark space, just waiting. Now the waiting was done. "Listen up," Ryan said. His voice carried to every corner of the bridge. "We just got the green light for Operation Lighthouse. The Council banned us, which means we are free to stop hiding. Helm set course for the Cascade sector. Maximum speed. Navigation. Start sending the rally codes to all the colonies in our sector. Communications. I want a secure channel to every human ship and settlement within 5 light-years." The bridge came alive with activity. At the helm, Lieutenant Chris Hayes began plotting the course. At navigation, Ensign Beth Cooper started transmitting the encrypted signals that would wake up 47 colonies. And at communications, Amy was opening channels to ships and stations that had been silent for years. "Sir, the Cascade colonies are responding," Amy reported. "Colony Sierra 7 confirms receipt. New Boston is online. Port Jackson acknowledges. Sir, they are all responding. All 47 colonies are coming online." Ryan walked to the main view screen and activated the fleet-wide communication system. Faces appeared in small windows across the screen. Ship captains, colony governors, station commanders, hundreds of people who had been waiting just like him. "This is Captain Ryan Baker of the Earth Defense Ship Valiant. I am sure you have all received the news by now. The Galactic Council has made their decision, and that decision has set us free. For 20 years, humanity has been building in secret. We established colonies in unclaimed space. We built ships and stations the Council knows nothing about. We created a civilization independent of their control. We did all this while playing by their rules and asking for nothing." He paused, looking at the faces on the screen. These were his people, farmers and engineers, soldiers and scientists, all of them human, all of them ready. "Today we stop hiding. Operation Lighthouse means we turn on every light, open every port, and announce to the galaxy that humanity is here to stay. The Council thought banning us would make us disappear. They are about to learn they were very wrong. All ships, all stations, all colonies, you are authorized to operate at full capacity. Make contact with non-Council species. Begin trade operations. Show the galaxy what we have built." Cheers erupted across the communication network. On his own bridge, his crew was smiling and shaking hands. Ryan felt the weight of 6 months lift from his shoulders. "One more thing," he added. "The Council banned us because they fear strength. They have forgotten that the universe is a dangerous place. We have not forgotten. We stayed strong while pretending to be weak. Now we stop pretending. Let us remind them what humanity really is." Baker out. The Valiant's engines came to life and the ship began moving toward the Cascade sector. Around it, the other 11 ships of the battle group fell into formation. Within hours they would reach the first colony. Within days all 47 colonies would be in contact. Within weeks the whole galaxy would know. In the colony of New Boston, Governor Helen Ross received the message and immediately called a meeting of the Colonial Council. New Boston was home to 3 million people spread across 5 continents of a green world. They had farms and factories, schools and hospitals, everything a civilization needed, and the Galactic Council had no idea they existed. "The ban has been issued," Helen told the Council. "Earth Command has authorized full disclosure. We are free to make contact with any species we choose. We can begin trading openly. We can reveal ourselves." One of the Council members, a woman named Susan Page, looked worried. "Are we ready for this? What if the Council sends ships to force us to leave?" Helen smiled grimly. "Let them try. This colony has been here for 18 years. We have defensive satellites in orbit. We have shields strong enough to stop anything the Council has. And we are not alone. 46 other colonies are doing the same thing right now, and 300 Earth defense ships are moving to support us." Another Council member, an older man named Kevin Walsh, nodded slowly. "I was there when the first colony ship landed. I helped build the first settlement with my own hands. I will be damned if the Council tells us we cannot be here now. We claimed this world fairly. We worked for it. We bled for it." "Then we are agreed," Helen said. "New Boston will participate in Operation Lighthouse. Send a message to all settlements. Turn on all the lights. Open the spaceports. We are done hiding." Across 47 worlds, the same scene played out. Colonies that had operated in darkness suddenly blazed with light. Spaceports opened for business. Communication arrays began broadcasting in all the major galactic languages. Human merchants sent out trade offers. Human scientists shared research data with species the Council had ignored. On Gateway Station Alpha, 30 light-years from Council space, Commander Lisa Grant watched the sensors light up with activity. Gateway Alpha was one of 30 massive stations Earth had built in secret. Each one was 15 kilometers across, armed with weapons that could destroy battle cruisers, and defended by shields using technology the Council thought was impossible. "Commander, we are receiving hundreds of contacts," her sensor officer reported. "Ships from a dozen different species all responding to our open trade invitation." Lisa smiled. Gateway Alpha had been ready for this moment for 5 years. "Open all docking bays. Make sure every ship gets a warm welcome. We want word to spread that humans are open for business. The first ship to dock was a Zarvan merchant vessel. Its captain, a cautious alien named Velthar, looked around the human station with wide eyes. The station was clean and modern, with technology that seemed decades ahead of council standards. In the trading hall, merchants from multiple species were already doing business. A human trader named Paul Henderson approached with samples of advanced computer storage. "Welcome to Gateway Alpha. Can I interest you in some quantum storage crystals? They will increase your data capacity by 10,000 times. Velthar examined the crystals. They were genuine and they were incredible. "Where did you get these?" "The council has not approved this technology." Paul shrugged. "The council does not approve anything we do anymore. We developed this ourselves. Now we are selling it to anyone who wants it." As Velthar negotiated prices, he realized something important. Humanity had not just survived the ban. They had been preparing for it. While the council thought they were containing a dangerous species, humans had been building an empire in the shadows, and now that empire was revealing itself to the galaxy. The Zarvan merchant ship Prosperity's Dream had been using the same trade route for 300 years. Captain Velthar knew every star and every safe passage through the Orin Nebula. His family had been traders for 12 generations, and they had never seen anything unusual on this route. Until today, "Captain, sensors are showing a massive structure directly ahead," his sensor operator called out. Her voice was shaking slightly. "It was not there 6 months ago on our last trip." Velthar pulled up the sensor display on his command screen. What he saw made his secondary heart skip. Floating in space was a station so large it looked like a small moon. Weapons covered its surface like scales on a fish. Sensor arrays jutted out in every direction, and lights blazed from thousands of windows, making it shine like a star. "That is impossible," Velthar whispered. "Nothing that big can be built in 6 months." "Sir, it is broadcasting," the communication officer said. "In all the major trade languages." A human voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect Zarvan. "This is Gateway Station Alpha, representing the independent colonies of Earth. All vessels are welcome to dock for trade and resupply. This sector is now under human administration. Please respond for approach vectors and docking procedures." Velthar's crest went flat against his head in confusion. Humans out here? This was 30 light-years from their approved space. The council had just banned them. What were they doing building stations in neutral space? "Reply to them," Velthar ordered. "Ask them what authority they have to claim this sector." A human face appeared on the main screen. It was a woman with dark hair pulled back in a practical style, and she was smiling like this was a normal day. "I am Commander Lisa Grant, Station Administrator." "Nice to meet you, Captain Velthar." "How do you know my name?" Velthar demanded. "Your ship is broadcasting its registration." "Standard procedure, right?" Lisa's smile did not waver. "As for our authority, this sector was unclaimed according to Galactic Council records. We claimed it 20 years ago and have been developing it ever since. Now we are opening trade with all interested parties." "But the Council just banned humanity," Velthar protested. "You cannot be out here building stations and claiming territory." Lisa's smile turned into something sharper. "The Council banned us from their space. This is not their space. This is our space. We followed all the proper procedures for claiming unclaimed territory. We filed the paperwork 20 years ago. Nobody objected because nobody was paying attention." She leaned forward slightly. "Now would you like to dock and see what we have to offer? Or would you prefer to go back the way you came?" Velthar looked at his navigation officer. "How much time would we lose taking the alternate route?" 2 weeks, Captain. And that route has higher piracy risk." Velthar made his decision. "We will dock, but I will be filing a report with the Council about this." "You do that?" Lisa said cheerfully. "Tell them Gateway Alpha says hello. And tell them this is just one of 30 stations we have built in the last 20 years. Transmitting docking procedures now." As the Prosperity's Dream moved toward the station, Velthar studied every detail. The power readings were enormous, far beyond anything the Council used. The weapons arrays could probably destroy a dozen ships at once. The shields were active and strong enough to stop a fleet. This was not just a trading post. This was a fortress. The docking procedure was smooth and professional. Human crew members guided them into a large bay with perfect precision. When Velthar and his crew stepped off their ship, they found themselves in a clean, well-lit area that looked more advanced than any council facility. A human docking officer named Greg Martin greeted them. "Welcome to Gateway Alpha. First time visiting a human station?" "First time knowing human stations existed out here," Velthar admitted. Greg laughed. "You and everyone else. Come on. I will show you to the trading hall." The trading hall was massive, with hundreds of merchants displaying their goods. Velthar saw species he recognized and some he did not. None of them were major council members. These were independent traders, small species, frontier merchants. The kind of beings who did not care about council politics as long as the prices were good. A human merchant approached Velthar with a friendly smile. "Captain, I am Paul Henderson. Can I interest you in some advanced computer technology? We have quantum storage crystals that can increase your ship's data capacity by 10,000 times. Velthar examined the samples Paul offered. His technical expert scanned them and looked up in shock. "Captain, these are real." "This technology should not exist. The theoretical physics alone." "Where did you get these?" Velthar demanded. Paul shrugged casually. "We developed them. Human scientists have been working on quantum technology for years. The council was not interested in our research, so we kept it to ourselves. Now we are ready to sell." "The council has not approved this technology," Velthar said. "The council does not approve or disapprove what we do anymore," Paul replied. "They banned us, remember? That means we are free to trade with whoever we want and we do not need their permission. So are you interested in buying?" Velthar was interested. He was also deeply worried. If humans had this kind of technology and were willing to sell it, what else did they have? And how had they built all of this without the council noticing? He bought a supply of the storage crystals along with some advanced sensors and a new type of engine coolant that his engineer said was revolutionary. The prices were fair, actually cheaper than council-approved merchants charged. As he completed the transactions, Velthar noticed something else. Every merchant in the hall seemed relaxed and confident. Nobody was afraid of council inspectors. Nobody was checking regulations. They were just doing business freely. When his ship was loaded and ready to leave, Velthar asked to speak with Commander Grant again. She met him in her office, which had windows overlooking the entire station. "I do not understand," Velthar said honestly. "How did you build all this? When did you build it? Why did nobody notice?" Lisa gestured for him to sit. 20 years ago, Earth realized the council was never going to treat us as equals. They were always going to see us as dangerous primitives who needed to be controlled, so we decided to stop trying to convince them otherwise. We started sending colony ships to unclaimed systems. We built stations in places the council never explored. We developed our own technology instead of relying on council science. "But the resources required," Velthar protested. "The time, the coordination, how?" "Humans are good at long-term planning," Lisa said. "We are also good at working together when we have a common goal. Every colony ship that left Earth had a purpose. Every station was placed strategically. Every piece of technology was developed to solve a specific problem. We did not waste anything, and we did not tell anyone what we were doing." "The council will not allow this," Velthar said. Lisa's expression became serious. The council already allowed it. They just did not know they were allowing it. "We followed their rules. We filed the proper claims. We stayed out of restricted space. We did everything legally. The only thing we did wrong was succeed without their permission." Velthar stood to leave. "I must report this. The council needs to know." "Of course," Lisa said. "Please tell them everything you saw. Tell them about our stations, our technology, our trade. Tell them that humans are not going away and we are not asking for permission anymore. And tell them that 17 other species have already signed trade agreements with us. And more are joining every day." As the Prosperity's dream departed from Gateway Alpha, Velthar watched the station shrink in his view screen. He thought about the human confidence he had witnessed. The advanced technology. The military power hidden behind a friendly smile. And he realized that the galaxy had changed while nobody was watching. The council had banned humanity thinking it would solve a problem. Instead, they had freed humans to become what they were always capable of becoming. A power that did not ask permission. A civilization that made its own rules, and a people who had learned that being polite was optional, but being strong was essential. Velthar began composing his report to the council. He knew they would not believe it at first. They would think he was exaggerating or confused. But eventually they would send their own scouts. They would see the stations. They would encounter the colonies. They would realize that while they had been congratulating themselves on banning humanity, Humans had been building an empire in the darkness, and by the time the Council figured it out, it would be far too late to do anything about it. High Arbiter Zeldin sat in its private chamber, reviewing reports that made its crystalline body click and rattle with agitation. 3 months had passed since the Council banned humanity. 3 months that had turned into a nightmare of discoveries. The first report came from the Zarvan merchant Veltar. Then more reports arrived. Scout ships from a dozen species all reporting the same impossible thing. Humans were everywhere, not just in their approved space but scattered across hundreds of systems. Stations the size of moons, colonies with millions of inhabitants, ships using technology the Council had never seen. Shell then pulled up a map of known human presence. Red dots marked confirmed sightings. 3 months ago, there had been 3 dots representing Earth and its 2 approved colonies. Now there were over 200 dots and more appeared every day. "This is impossible," Council member Vorath said. The gas-form alien swirled angrily in its containment globe. "We monitor all space traffic. We have regulations on colony establishment. How did they move millions of people without our knowledge?" Admiral Krental, the Council's military commander, brought up tactical displays. His species looked like an upright lizard covered in blue scales, and right now those scales were darkening with concern. "Because we were not looking, Council member. The humans filed proper paperwork for colony ships over the past 20 years. We approved every single one. We assumed they would go to their designated expansion zone and report their progress as required." "And they did not?" another Council member asked. "They went dark the moment they left our sensor range," Krental explained. "Their colony ships were equipped with advanced stealth technology we did not know they possessed. They traveled to unclaimed systems far beyond our monitoring network. They built their colonies in secret and never reported them. By the time we realized what was happening, they had already established hundreds of settlements." Selden felt something it had not experienced in its long life. Fear mixed with anger and a growing sense that the Council had made a terrible mistake. "Surely we can force them to comply with our regulations. Send enforcement fleets to dismantle these illegal stations." Krental's expression was grim. "I analyzed the stations we have found. Each one has defensive capabilities equal to a Council battlecruiser. They have shields using technology we cannot identify. Some of them have weapons that our scientists say should not be possible. An intelligence report suggests they have faster-than-light communication, which means they can coordinate across hundreds of light years instantly." The chamber fell into heavy silence. Faster-than-light communication had been proven impossible by Council science 3 centuries ago. The best scientists in the galaxy agreed it violated fundamental laws of physics. "How many of these stations exist?" Selden asked quietly. "At least 30 that we have confirmed," Krental replied. "Possibly more. Each one is positioned strategically along major trade routes or near resource-rich systems. They are not randomly placed. This was carefully planned." Council member Shaleen, who had opposed the ban from the beginning, activated its own display. Shaleen's species resembled a floating jellyfish made of light, and it pulsed with colors that indicated deep concern. "There is more you need to see. Economic data." The display showed trade routes across the galaxy. Lines that had flowed toward Council markets for centuries were now diverting. Ships were stopping at human stations instead. Independent species were choosing to do business with humans rather than Council-approved merchants. "The humans are offering better prices," Shaleen explained. "Their technology is more advanced in many areas. Their stations are safer and better equipped, and they do not require the mountains of paperwork and fees that Council trade requires. In just 3 months, they have captured 12% of independent trade traffic. If this trend continues, it will severely impact Council economies. Then we must take military action," Vorath insisted. "We cannot allow this challenge to Council authority." "Can we not?" Shaleen asked quietly. "Let me show you what military action would cost." Another display appeared, showing force projections. Shaleen had clearly been doing research. To effectively attack and neutralize the human stations, we would need to commit approximately 40% of the Council fleet. The battles would be costly. Human defensive technology is superior to ours in several key areas. We would likely win through sheer numbers, but casualties would be severe. "And then what?" Shaleen continued. "Even if we destroy the stations, the colonies remain. There are at least 47 major human colonies, each with its own defenses. Some of them have populations in the millions. We would need to commit ground forces. The cost in lives and resources would be enormous. And while we are fighting humans," Admiral Krental added, We weaken our ability to maintain order everywhere else. Pirates would become bolder. Border disputes would escalate. Other species might see our conflict with humanity as an opportunity to challenge our authority. Zell then felt the weight of the situation crushing down. What about diplomacy? Can we negotiate? Negotiate what? Vorath demanded. We banned them. We declared them unwelcome in civilized space, and they accepted our ban, Shaolin pointed out. They left our space as we demanded. Everything they have built is in unclaimed territory, or in systems they properly filed claims for decades ago. They followed our rules while we were not paying attention. Another council member spoke up, but they clearly deceived us. They hid their true capabilities. They built all of this in secret. Did they deceive us, Shaolin asked? Or did we simply assume they were weak because we wanted them to be weak? The humans submitted regular reports to the council. Those reports were accurate about their approved colonies. They simply did not report the colonies we never asked about. We assumed we knew everything they were doing because it never occurred to us that they might be doing things without our permission. Zell then reviewed the timeline again. 20 years of careful planning. 20 years of colony ships launching from Earth, disappearing into deep space and establishing settlements beyond council oversight. 20 years of technological development that the council never monitored because humans never asked for research grants or approval. 20 years of building a civilization that did not need the council at all. What do we know about their military capabilities? Zell then asked. Krental pulled up another set of reports. Earth Defense Fleet has at least 300 vessels that we know of. Possibly more. Their ships are smaller than ours, but appear to be faster and more maneuverable. They use some kind of advanced reactor system that gives them power-to-weight ratios our engineers say are impossible. And they have formed mutual defense pacts with 17 non-council species. 17? Zell then was shocked. In 3 months? Species that the council ignored or rejected, Shaolin explained. Small civilizations that we deemed too primitive or too troublesome to bother with. Humans offered them trade, technology sharing, and protection. These species had no loyalty to the council because the council had no interest in them. Vorath's gas form swirled angrily. This is unacceptable. Humanity is deliberately undermining council authority. Is it deliberate? Shaolin asked. Or are they simply doing what any civilization would do when freed from restrictive regulations? We told them they could not trade in our space, so they trade in their own space. We told them they could not expand in our territories, so they expanded into unclaimed territories. We banned them from diplomatic relations with council members, so they formed relations with non-council species. They are following our rules exactly. Zell then saw the trap clearly now. The council had assumed that banning humanity would isolate them, weaken them, force them to come back begging for readmission. Instead, the ban had freed humans to reveal their true strength. They had been playing weak, pretending to follow council regulations out of courtesy, and the council had mistaken that courtesy for genuine submission. What do we do? Thal then asked, and for the first time in its long career it genuinely did not know the answer. We have 3 options, Admiral Krental said. First, military action. High cost, uncertain outcome, and it would likely unite other species against us. Second, economic sanctions. But that would be ineffective since humans are not dependent on council trade. Third, diplomatic recognition. We admit that humanity is now an equal power and negotiate terms for peaceful coexistence. Recognition? Vorath was outraged. That would make us look weak. We already look weak, Shaolin said bluntly. We banned a species that we thought was minor and troublesome. That species then revealed they had built an empire while we were not looking. Every species in the galaxy is watching to see what we do next. If we attack and lose, our authority crumbles. If we attack and win but at great cost, our authority is damaged. The only way to maintain any credibility is to admit that we misjudged humanity and negotiate a new relationship. Zell then made a decision. Convene an emergency session of the full council. We need to discuss this with all members present, and someone contact Ambassador Price. It appears we may need to renegotiate terms. 6 months after the ban, Ambassador Daniel Price walked into the Galactic Council chamber again. This time he was not alone. Admiral Kate Morrison walked beside him, her military uniform crisp and decorated with medals. Governor Helen Ross represented the colonies, and several other human officials followed behind. They moved with confidence like people who knew they were no longer asking for favors. The council chamber felt different now. The thousands of alien representatives watched the humans with new eyes. Some showed fear, others showed curiosity, a few showed respect, but none of them showed the dismissive superiority they had displayed 6 months ago. High Arbiter Zeldin stood to address the humans. Its crystalline body did not click with satisfaction this time. Instead, it moved carefully, like someone trying not to appear threatening. Ambassador Price, thank you for accepting our invitation. The Council has reconsidered its position regarding humanity. Has it? Daniel asked. His tone was neutral, but everyone in the chamber could hear the steel underneath. That is interesting because humanity has not reconsidered its position at all. Zeldin continued as if Daniel had not spoken. We wish to discuss terms for readmission to the Council. There have been misunderstandings about humanity's activities. We believe these can be resolved through dialogue. Daniel exchanged a brief glance with Kate, then turned back to the assembly. Respectfully, High Arbiter, Earth is no longer interested in membership in the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted. Aliens clicked, buzzed, whistled, and roared in their various languages. The translation system struggled to keep up with the chaos. Zeldin raised a claw for silence, and slowly the noise died down. You refuse our offer? Zeldin's voice carried disbelief. But surely you understand the benefits of cooperation with the Council. Kate Morrison stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but carried authority earned through years of military command. We do understand the benefits of cooperation. That is why Earth has established the Free Trade Alliance with 23 independent species. That is why we have opened our stations to peaceful traffic from any civilization. That is why we are currently sharing our medical technology with 12 worlds that the Council deemed too primitive to help. Council member Vorath's gas form swirled with anger. You are trying to divide the galaxy. You are undermining Council authority. No, Daniel said firmly. You divided the galaxy the moment you decided that strength was something to be feared rather than respected. You built a system where strong species had to pretend to be weak to be accepted. You punished independence and rewarded submission. Earth is done pretending to be weak, and we are done submitting to your regulations. Governor Helen Ross spoke up. Her voice was steady and proud. I represent 47 colonies with a combined population of over 50 million humans. Those colonies voted unanimously. We have no interest in rejoining a council that demands we limit our growth, restrict our technology, and submit to regulations designed to keep us dependent. We are building something better. What are you proposing then? Zeldin asked. For the first time, the High Arbiter sounded genuinely uncertain. Daniel pulled out a data tablet and activated a holographic display. A mutual recognition treaty. The Council governs its territories according to its laws. Earth and our allied colonies govern our territories according to our laws. We maintain open diplomatic channels. We trade freely with any species that wishes to trade. We cooperate on matters of mutual interest like piracy, disaster relief, and scientific research. But we do not pretend you have authority over us, and we do not seek authority over you. Council member Shaleen, who had opposed the ban from the beginning, pulsed with colors that indicated careful thought. You are asking us to accept humanity as an equal power, not a client state. No, Kate corrected with a slight smile. We are not asking. We are informing you of reality. Whether you accept it or not does not change what we have built. Earth has 57 colonies across 200 star systems. We have 30 major stations and hundreds of smaller outposts. Our fleet consists of over 300 ships. We have trade agreements with 23 species, mutual defense pacts with 17, and cultural exchange programs with 9. She gestured at the holographic display showing human territory. This exists right now. Your acceptance would make the galaxy safer and more prosperous for everyone. Your rejection would change nothing except making future interactions more difficult. Admiral Krental, the Council's military commander, spoke up. And if the Council decides to take military action against these unauthorized colonies? Kate's smile did not waver, but her eyes turned cold. Then you would be starting a war you cannot win. Our defensive capabilities are significant. Our colonies are spread across too many systems for you to attack them all. And our allies would honor their defense pacts. You would be fighting on dozens of fronts simultaneously while dealing with increased piracy and unrest in your own territories. That sounds like a threat, Vorath said. It is an observation, Daniel replied. We do not want war. War is expensive, destructive, and accomplishes nothing, but we will not submit to council authority anymore. If you attack us, we will defend ourselves, and the cost to you will be far higher than you are willing to pay." The council members conferred among themselves in hushed tones. Daniel could see the calculations happening. Some wanted to fight to prove the council was still dominant. Others wanted to negotiate, recognizing that the balance of power had shifted. A few looked like they wanted to pretend none of this was happening. Finally, Zell then spoke again. "This is not the outcome we anticipated when we issued the ban." Daniel's expression softened slightly. "I know, you expected us to come back begging to be readmitted. You expected us to be weakened and isolated. You did not expect us to thrive." He paused. "High Arbiter, I tried to warn you 6 months ago. Earth was playing by your rules as a courtesy, not because we needed to. You took away the courtesy, so we stopped playing by the rules." "You lied to us," Zeldin said. "You hid your true capabilities." "We exercised our right to privacy," Kate corrected. "We never signed any agreement requiring us to report all our activities to the council. We followed the rules you actually wrote, not the rules you assumed we would follow, and when you decided you did not want us in your territory anymore, we respected that decision and moved on." Another council member, a species that looked like a walking tree, spoke up. "But this sets a dangerous precedent. Other species may follow your example. They may build colonies in secret. They may ignore our regulations." "Good," Helen said bluntly. "The galaxy could use more independent thinking and less central control. The council serves a purpose, but that purpose is not to control every aspect of every civilization. Some species need your structure and guidance. Others, like humanity, do not." Daniel pulled up another document. "Here are the proposed terms for a mutual recognition treaty. Take time to review them. Discuss them among yourselves. But understand that with or without this treaty, humanity is moving forward. We are not stopping our expansion. We are not halting our trade. We are not asking for permission anymore." He looked around the chamber at the thousands of alien faces. "6 months ago, you banned us because you were afraid of what we might become. That fear made you push us away. Now you have learned that we became exactly what you feared, not because of your ban, but in spite of it. The question now is whether you can accept that reality and work with us, or whether you will cling to the illusion of control that was always just an illusion." The council agreed to review the treaty terms. As the humans left the chamber, Daniel heard the arguments beginning behind them. Some council members wanted to reject the treaty and prepare for war. Others wanted to accept it and try to maintain some influence over human activities. A few realized that the best they could hope for was peaceful coexistence with a power they could no longer control. Outside the council building, the humans walked through corridors filled with alien representatives. Some moved aside nervously. Others watched with open curiosity. A few nodded in what might have been respect. "Do you think they will accept the treaty?" Helen asked quietly. "Eventually," Kate replied. "They do not have much choice. We have already won. This is just the council learning to accept it." Daniel nodded. "We gave them 20 years of cooperation, and they responded with fear and rejection. So we spent 20 years preparing for exactly this moment. They thought banning us was the end of the discussion. They did not realize it was the beginning of our real story. They reached their ship in orbit where crews were preparing for departure. Around them, human vessels patrolled the space lanes under the protection of mutual defense treaties. On distant worlds, human colonies were growing and thriving. In laboratories across human space, scientists were pushing boundaries the Council thought impossible. The Galactic Council had banned humanity, thinking it would make the galaxy safer and more manageable. Instead, they had freed Earth to become what humans had always been capable of becoming. A civilization that did not ask permission, a people who did not quit when told no, a species that remembered the most important lesson from their violent, dangerous, beautiful homeworld.